Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to read chapter 3 in this story. And I have put all the links below in the description box of chapter 1 and chapter 2. Don't forget to check that out. So let's read it. Chapter 3. So what? Sophie managed to say when she finally found her voice. You're saying I'm an alien? She held her breath. Fitz interrupted into laughter. Her cheeks grew hot, but she was also relieved. She didn't want to be an alien. No, he said when he did manage to compose himself. I'm saying you are an elf. An elf? The word hung in the air between them, a foreign object that didn't belong. An elf? She repeated. Visions of little people in tights with pointy ears danced through her brain and she couldn't help giggling. You don't believe me? Did you really expect me to? I guess not. He, hand his, he ran his hands through his hair, making it stick out in wavy spikes, kind of like a rock star. Could someone that good looking be crazy? I'm telling you the truth, Sophie. I don't want. I don't know what else to say. Okay, she agreed. If he refused to be serious, so would she? Fine, I'm an elf. Am I supposed to help Frodo destroy the ring and save Middle Earth, or do I have to make toys in the North Pole? He let out a sigh, but a smile hid in the corners of his mouth. Would it help if I showed you? Oh, sure, this ought to be good. She folded her arms as he pulled out a slender silver wand with intricate carvings etched into the sides. At the tip, a small round crystal sparkled in the sunlight. Is that your magic wand? She couldn't resist asking. He rolled his eyes. Actually, it's a pathfinder. He spun the crystal and locked it into place with the silver latch at the top. Now, this can be dangerous. Do you promise you will exactly what I tell you to do? Her smile faded. That depends what I do. What do I have to do? You need to take my hand and concentrate on holding on. And by concentrate, I mean can't think about anything else, no matter what happens. Can you do that? Why? Do you want proof or not? She wanted to say no. He couldn't actually prove anything. What was he going to do? Risk her away to some magic elf land? But she was curious, and really that warmth could come from holding someone's hand. He yelled her palms not to sweat as their fingers lashed together. Her heart did that stupid flattery thing again, and her hand ticked everywhere their skin touched. He glanced over his shoulder, scanning the parking lot again. Okay, we're alone. We go on 3. You ready? What happens on 3? He shot her a warning look and she scolded at him, but she bit her tongue and concentrated on holding his hand, ignoring her racing heart. Seriously, when did she become one of those silly girls? 1, he counted, raising his wand. Sunlight hit a facet in the crystal and a bright beam reflected toward the ground. 2, he tightened his grip. Sophie closed her eyes. 3, Fitz pulled her forward, and the warm twinkling in her hand shot through her body like a million feathers swirling underneath her skin, twinkling her from the inside out. She fought off a giggle and concentrated on Fitz. But where was he? She knew she was clinging to him, but it felt like her body had melted to go, and the only thing keeping her from oozing away was a blanket of warmth wrapped around her. Then, faster than the blink of an eye, the warmth faded and she opened her eyes. Her mouth fell open as he tried to take it all in. She might have even squeaked and stood at the edge of a glassy river lined with impossibly tall trees fanning out their wide illuminate leaves among the puffy white clouds. Across the river, a row of crystal castles glittered in the sunlight in a way that would make Walt Disney want to throw rocks at this magic kingdom. To her right, a golden path led into a squalling city where the elaborate domed buildings seemed to be built from brick-sized jewels, each sweater a different color. Snow-snapped mountains surrounded the last valley, and the crisp, cool air smelled like cinnamon and chocolate and sunlight. Places this beautiful weren't supposed to exist, much less appear out of thin air. You can let go of my hand now. Sophie jumped. She did forgotten about Fitz. Her hands released his, and as the blood tightened in her fingertips, I realized how hard she did been squeezing. She looked around, unable to make sense of anything she saw. The castle towers a twist like spun sugar, and something seemed oddly familiar about them, but she couldn't figure out what it was. Where are we? Our capital. We call it Elartania, but you might have heard it called Sangrila before. Sangrila? She repeated, shaking her hand. Sangrila is real? All of the lost cities are real, but not how you did picture them. I'm sure human stories rarely get anything right. Think of all the ridiculous things you have heard about elves. She had to laugh at that, and the sharp burst of sound echoed off the trees. It was so quiet there, just the gentle buzz brushing her face and the soft murmur of the river. No traffic, no clutter, no humming, unspoken thoughts. She could get very used to the silence. But it felt strange, too, like something was missing. Where is everyone? She asked, raising on her tiptoes to get a better view of the city. The streets were a ghost town. Fitz pointed to a domed building that towered over all the others. The green stones of its walls looked like giant annals, but for some reason the building sparkled less than all the others. It looked like a serious place for serious things. See the blue banner flying. That means a tribunal is in process. Everyone's watching the proceedings. A tribunal? When the council basing our reality holds a hearing to decide if someone's a broken law, they are kind of a big deal when they happen. Why? He shrugged. Laws are really broken. Well, that was different. Humans broke the laws all the time. She shook her head. Was she really thinking of humans as something other? But how else could she explain where she was? She tried to wrap her mind around the idea, tried to force it to make sense. So she said, cringing over her ridiculous next question, "This is magic." Fitz laughed, a full body laugh, like it was the funniest thing he'd ever heard. She glared at him. "It couldn't be that funny." "No," he said when he did recognize control. "Magic is a stupid idea humans came up with to try to explain things that couldn't understand." "Okay," she said, trying to cling to the remaining strands of her sanity. "Then how can we be here when 5 minutes ago we are in San Diego?" He held up the pathfinder up to the sun, casting a ray of light into his hand. Light leaping. "We hitched a ride on a beam of light that was headed straight here." "That's impossible." "Is it?" "Yeah, you need infinite energy for light travel. Haven't you heard of the theory of relativity?" She thought she had him stumped with that one, but she just laughed again. "That's the dumbest thing I have ever heard." "Who came up with that?" Uh, Albert Einstein?" "Huh, never heard of him." But he was wrong. He did never heard of Albert Einstein. The theory of relativity was dumb. She wasn't sure how to argue. She seemed so ridiculously confident. It was enerving. "Concentrate harder this time," he said as he grabbed her hand again. She closed her eyes and waited for the warm feather sensation. But this time it was like someone tried on a hair dryer and sent the feathers clattering in a million directions, until another force wrapped around her and pulled everything back together like a giant rubber band. A second later, she was shivering from a cold ocean breeze, wrapping her hair around her face. Fitz pointed to the massive castle in front of them, which glowed like the stones were carved from moonlight. "How do you think we got here?" Words failed her. It really had felt like the light passed through her, pulling her along with it. But she couldn't bring herself to say it, because if that was true, every science book she did read was wrong. "You look confused," he observed. "Well, that's like you're saying, 'Hey, Sophie, take everything you have ever learned about anything and throw it again.'" "Actually, that is what I'm saying," he flashed a slug grin. "Humans do the best why can, but their minds can't begin to complete the complexions of reality. And what else? Minds are better. Of course, why do you think you are so far ahead of your class? The slowest elf can still trump a human, even one with no proper education." Her shoulders stuck as if its word sank in. If he was right, she was just some stupid girl who knew nothing about anything. No, not a girl, an elf. Chapter finish. So, hope you liked today's confusing chapter. I will read the next chapter tomorrow. Till that, take care, and if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share this video, friends. And please, please, please comment me down below if you are enjoying this story. So, that's all for today. Bye bye.